Before we get started, please take the time to like, add, and subscribe to our pages on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and iTunes. Also, please leave us a review.
I love this because this picture captures. I don't know if it was you and I. It might have been you and I, or somebody and I were in Yellowstone, and it might have just been myself. A car, this guy was parked on the road like that because of the big ditch, right? And he's sitting there, that wheel on the right. We can wander our way over, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility?
Clink.
Clink. Hello, and welcome. It is another wonderful Wednesday here at the Wandering Ways podcast. I am the Reverend Mark, and I'm here with, as per usual, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that realms, that stays, that claims his stake in Billings, Montana. It's Ranger Zach here today. How we doing, Ranger Zach? It's been a week since we've chatted.
Yeah, or 7 days if you prefer days to weeks. I know that people are weird like that. I don't know what day of the week it is where you are. If you're listening live, you're listening a month later, you're listening in the winter. I just hope you're whistling along. No. Hope it's all well. Hope it's all good. I've been out journeying. You said I take my stake to the great state of Billings, or the city of Billings here in Montana, but really it's more Montana. Billings is a good headquarters. It's where I've been for the last 5 years. It's hard to get out of. It's like that muddy rut in the road that just hardened over time, so you just get stuck in it when you're driving down those dirt roads like that. Yeah, well, it's Billings for you.
You just keep on going back.
The nice thing when you do get to Billings, you get to Montana out here, like the rims are close. You start getting in the foothills of the Beartooths, like the Columbus foothills and that kind of stuff, only about 30 miles west of Billings there. But in reality, like it is a gateway to the mountains, which is nice. I really don't think I could live that much further east. I tell Thea, though, I say, if we can get a place in Oregon, I'll get a place in Wolf Point. We can do that, But if I have a place in Wolf Point, I'm going to get land. I'm going to do something with the land. I might try and put some bison on the land or do something crazy like that. You know what I mean?
Ostrich farm. Got it. Love the idea.
No, I would do native. I would go like bison, and then we would the sage grouse. How about that? We'd help bring back the sage grouse out on
Yeah,
the
the
plain.
sage grouse. Just have a bunch of marmots.
Yeah, yellow belly marmots. Yeah,
Yeah, just a absolute like ton of them.
you like those rodents, man.
Well, I
You
just kind of like I just like looking and saying the word marmot.
Well, if you're one of the wanderers that listens to the podcast and you're taking notes, you count the dings every time one of my emails or phones ding, or you count Mark's sermons that he gives about, or his rants, his reverend rants, as we call them. Well, today, the actual recording of this episode today is on February 2nd. And if you know what February 2nd is, it is Groundhog Day. And I know, just talking about it, I know you were tuned in, you were excited.
Yeah, I kind of forgot. I remembered it was Groundhog's Day this morning because I watched good old Puxatawny Phil come out of his hole and see if he's gonna see his shadow or not. He saw it, everybody. If you're
So,
curious, if you haven't paid attention to 2023 Groundhog's Day, he saw his shadow. So we got another 6 more weeks of winter. Groundhog's Day is absolutely silly. I a real funny story actually about like this year's Groundhog's Day is I was at work, and the men's soccer team that I work with, there's a good amount of internationals that play for the team.
yeah.
So there's a kid on the team who's from Sweden, and we were talking about Groundhog's Day, and he looks and goes, what is Groundhog's Day?" And so, in the best way that I could describe it to him is, and I'm going to describe it the same way for everyone else in case you don't know, but
Well, I'm
this
a
is
first
how,
time listener too. I just want to let you
yeah,
guys
this is how silly the United States is we every year on February 2nd, we go and we watch a rodent come out of its hole, of its burrow, look for its shadow, which again is kind of subjective because nobody's asking directly if he saw his shadow or not. But that's how we get our climate information because, fuck science and climate change isn't real in this country. But Puxatawny Phil's onto something.
I was talking with my dad about it because, like, too, that thing's so televised, and you got all the lights nowadays and stuff. That's all. So, doesn't he see his shadow? Aren't those lights casting shadows?
It's it's absolutely it's a silly holiday, which is why I like it because it's absolutely silly. But in the grand scheme of things, it's stupid. There is a history to it. I've looked it up before, and it has to do with like they used to go out, and once they see like these burrowing animals come out, they're like, "Oh, spring must be coming soon," type deal, because they're coming out of their burrow, and then
They're
it
done.
turned into a whole day where people just get drunk in the morning.
They're coming out of hibernation, probably is what it is, right? Like, it's like the bears. Like, people worry, like, come February sometimes when those bears do start coming out of their dens in Yellowstone and wandering around, and it becomes an issue because it is, like you're saying, climate change, where these animals react differently to climate change. Some of them are the warning signs for us, and we're not paying attention to those warning signs. Thea told me this morning, though, she said, "Yeah, we got to do that one of these years. Go see the guy out there in Pennsylvania,
Oh, I
autopsy stuff."
100%. It's on my bucket list to go out to Puxatawny, Pennsylvania, and watch and do the whole freaking thing. Because it is just do the whole freaking outfit that they do and just go to the thing. Because they like walk them down the middle. It's like a whole silly kind of show that they put on. They'll do like a whole weekend thing. It's just absolutely it's absolutely silly and crazy when it comes down to it.
Whatever, too, like, as those events grow, you take some of those events, how they become, oh, that's grandpa's farm. Yeah, we all go to every year. It pops up. The carnival's there. They add this attraction. Thea was like, they have this going on. They have dancers. They have that. They have that. And you're like, wow, might be a cool event to attend if we're ever up in the Pennsylvania area.
Oh,
In the month of February. Yeah, it's on the list, I guess. It's on a list.
it's on my bucket list. I'll make sure to go check out Groundhog's Day at some point because it's just too silly not to.
Speaking of Groundhog Day, man, we've been just work. We were given a presentation because you give it to there's like different rounds of the presentation that you give, and today we gave it again for like the 10th time. So I feel it. I feel it's real. Groundhog's Day is real.
There you go. Speaking of silly-esque things, it might not be super silly, but it brings us kind of to the topic of today. We're going to be getting into spring is a coming. Puxatani told us so. It's just 6 weeks away, which means travel is going to start getting up. People are going to start traveling. You're making plans. Hopefully, you've made some plans. If not, start making some plans for the spring and summer, all those fun things. But one of the most important things, and I'm going to be honest, I think most of the wanderers don't fall into this category. But we're going to try and teach you how to not be a Turon today. Maybe give you some tips, give you some examples, and, just honestly have some fun with a little bit of public shaming today. So, with that being said, we're going to try and do our best to make you give a hoot and not pollute and all that fun stuff. So,
Right.
anything to add?
Let's just get right into it, kind of. When it comes to being a tourist, a Turon, a traveler, a nomad, whatever you may call yourself, you're out there wandering, doing whatever. kind of my first thing you think about, you're going somewhere new, you're going somewhere you want to go, you're going somewhere for the first time, you're going somewhere again because you enjoyed it, the last time you were there. First thing, do your research, straight up and down research. Whenever you're going to a place, like we're going to Iceland, we're doing our research, we're finding things we want to do, we're learning things about the country, we're looking up customs and just different things. There's so much, you go to a different place and it's not the same as where you're from, and nor should you think it's the same as where you're from. So yeah, I my first thing huge is respect. You want to respect the animals, the land, the people, the cultures, the beliefs, the governments, the laws, the rules, there's no need to disrespect people, when you're visiting them. So that's what respect to me is the first, when it comes to being a tourist, number one.
Yeah, 100%. Having the respect for it. I think this really gets turned up when you're traveling internationally. Having like a respect because you know it's a different area. They have different kind of customs and all of that. And like more importantly, the world does not revolve around you. Like, you know, I understand you want to have a good time. You want the picture. You want the super memorable event. But like, don't be a dick. Don't get in the way. Like, like just understand like you're not the only one there. Maybe you are. There are times where you are literally the only person there, and those are always special moments. But, there's a lot of times you're going to be around and like, don't just push your way through and make you the center of attention because you're like, I gotta get a picture with this, or I gotta get whatever whatever it is. Like, just don't be a dick.
No, and you're right. And that's part of it. That's like, you just gotta be a human. You gotta understand that what you're doing, it's even then, like you look back, like I look at the Wild West essentially, when America was headed west, and they think like, yeah, it was just land that we were conquering and taking over, and there wasn't that respect, even though the history books teach us like, oh yeah, they compromised and this and that. No, it was a lot of taking and fencing up valleys and doing things that weren't done before, and that's not respectful. And we need to be respectful in all realms. We need to be like, I like that you hit it on the head with internationally, because I think locally sometimes, because it's most of what my travel has been is locally, and even within America, you get the differences, the conservative or the liberal. So you see that come out in certain communities, I think, that like you just gotta just be respectful of people, like even if I don't agree or don't believe everything you're saying, I shouldn't argue it as a guest, and you never should argue it as a guest. But that's also, I mean, again, like why I said research too. They kind of go hand in hand because you want to do that research. You want to do it right. Like, you don't want to be that ignorant tourist that's like, you show up, even though you show up to Glacier Park, and you're like, hey, going to Sun Road needs a reservation. Well, that ruins my trip. Well, no, it's on you. It's 2023. Like,
Yeah.
you need, like, before you do anything, you should at least do some research, do some, and that's part of the respect, because it's a disrespect to me, if you're coming to visit like Billings, right? Sorry if you are, but you're going to give it that respect. You're going to give me that respect. You're not going to disrespect me in a place like that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just The simplest thing is just don't be a dick. Remember, we're all people. We all have the same issues. We all want the same thing. We all want to be happy, all that fun things, all of those good things. So, like, remember that. And to be fair, I think most of you wanderers do that when you are out and boat. Moving on, with the respect of people comes the respect of like land. You know, I'm gonna quote my boy Woodsy the Owl here. Give a hoot and don't pollute. Just like the old, what's the other saying too? Leave it better than you found it. Like all of those. There's a lot of sayings for just having respect for like land and areas that aren't yours. So like go
Right.
treat it so other people can enjoy it and make a similar memory that you just made.
Well, and not only that, but even like take like it's public lands, right? Where people think like, yeah, it's not yours, but it is yours. Take pride in that land being yours as a taxpayer. You pay so goddamn much money in taxes, and yet you just go throw fucking trash in your national parks. Like, be smarter, be smarter, be safer, be wiser, be then like exactly leave it better than you found it, but be better. How can you do that? What can you do? What can you give back in the environment you're visiting? You know, um, one thing I need to get better at. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. It's more with my monopod. I need to get better with that. Is like cleaning it off after every use. So it's like if I'm taking it in the dirt in Hawaii, I'm not taking that dirt to
Oh,
Iceland. I'm not taking that dirt to California. I'm not taking that, I'm cleaning that off because there might be bugs or something that shouldn't be going to these places, just little things, so with your like hiking boots and stuff, clean stuff, bring it into your house and give it a clean, there's a lot of stuff I get looked at by like certain people I know that come to my house and are like, why do you keep your like camping gear in like your indoor closet, not in your like garage, because like it's like that's garage stuff in like most people's mind. And to me, it's like, no, I want like my tent at room temperature when it's just sitting there. I want my propane bottles and that heater at certain temperatures so it works in these places too, like there's just a lot that goes in. And uh you just got to respect, again, like you said, respect the land, respect the people, respect again with the land, like other people's land too. Like when it is private land, you are in Montana and your hiking trail goes through some private land and then back onto public land. Like you're being respectful. You're not, if we all really were respectful people, we wouldn't have fences. We wouldn't, we would all look out for one another. We wouldn't like just take advantage of each other and be mean to each other. Like just, if we all looked out for each other, and that's to me, when you look at the native tribes here in the Northwest, or not in the Northwest, in North America, their governments, their societies were run with respect, was run by elders. It was run by, your wisdom people, your medicine people, the people who were spiritual in that sense of like, they understood, they respected, they took that time. If you're a young native person and an older person walks in the room, you give up your chair if there's no chairs, like there's just those things that like, it's a very respect oriented culture. It wasn't a monetary valued culture where we were selling things. It was, oh, hey, you need a ladder for your house down here? Well, there's the ladder maker. Your son is a sheep watcher. He goes and watches the sheep with the rest of everybody. It's very peaceful, very, I think, harmonistic. I really do think when our history books teach us about the warring natives, that comes from the European contact of like, well, we're taking your homes, we're taking your land. Like that's where the warring comes in, because you're going to fight for that.
yeah. One thing I think you brought up a good point, and I don't think I don't think a lot of people really think about it when it comes to like the respecting of land. Is that like cleaning off your stuff so you don't transfer the soil and stuff? Because it seems like you have your pair of hiking boots, right? And you know, people have that pride in a way of like, man, these boots, they've been everywhere. I got this scuff mark in Yosemite. I got this scuff mark at the top of this mountain type deal. You know, people take a lot of pride in that. And rightfully so, taking those boots or shoes everywhere, that's a huge accomplishment. But if you don't, and you don't have to be perfect, you can be a best effort to get off that soil or whatever, or seeds. That's a big one that could get in. But like a good best effort of not bringing in something by accident, because you bring in the wrong thing and it's poof, gone. That ecosystem is ruined. So, I mean, that's one. And again, it could be total. You may not have realized you stepped in something when you were in Hawaii, and there like a seed gets on your boot or into your shoe because it just got, and then all of a sudden you're in the middle of like Colorado, and that seed falls out, and all of a sudden just some flourishes out of the nowhere, you know. But if you get done and you take off, but again, best effort, doesn't have to be perfect. Give your boots a clean, spray them with water, that kind of deal. It can go a long way in saving and helping preserve lands so they don't just get decimated by invasive species.
Well, and let's take it, closer to the issue here, right? You see it in the Pacific Northwest for sure, is the zebra mussel from Japan.
Yeah.
So we've got it here in Montana in some lakes, even not as bad as out west, out in like Washington and Oregon, some places you guys have it real bad. But here, they have those inspection stations, and I know I hear it all the time. People get pissed off or like, oh, my kayak isn't wet, like why are you making me stop? But there's so much more to that, and that's part of what we're talking about here. It is like when you're taking water from, especially like think of Montana, right? You live on this side of Homestake Pass. That's the continental divide, right? It runs right through the middle, so it goes to the Gulf of
Yeah.
Mexico. You go to this side, that stuff goes to the Columbia. So you get zebra mussels over here on the east side, because I was in Sealy with my boat. Now I'm over here on Cooney or on the Bighorn, my boat. You just got to think, and we got to be smart about that stuff, because now we know. 100 years ago, they didn't know. You can blame them, sure, but you can't live and dwell in the past. You got to move on. And how you move on is you learn and you make better decisions from that. And it's all starts with that. It starts with us being good in these places, following the rules, listening to the advice, talk to others, tell your friends, tell your family you're going on these trips, because sometimes they have experiences as well that can be helpful, from that. And that goes back into that research phase. There's so many things that can help make these trips better and funner and just make us be smarter, better stewards of the land.
100%. Yeah, that's really what it is we just got to be better stewards of the land. And also ELE, everybody love everybody.
So I was kind of thinking of getting into sport fishing again, but I feel like I need a good quality net.
Well, you know what, Reverend? I got the key solution for you. Our friends at Blue Ribbon Net make this eco-friendly aquafade bag, so you're not hurting the environment. It's 100% biodegradable. Plus, the wood is locally sourced, and it is also biodegradable, and it's just such a great company to use. The Blue Ribbon Nets, they're here in Bozeman, Montana, and we even have a discount code. That's right. If you use the code Rougarou10, that's right. That's my Jeep, the Rougarou. Rougarou10, RUGARU10, you're going to get some discount on a Blue Ribbon net. You can get the long one if you're fishing the big fish, or you can get just a good river one, if you're like me and just want to catch a lot of fish.
So again, make sure you go check out Blue Ribbon and use the promo code Rougarou10.
Hey there, Reverend. I heard that you might be running dry on your sticker supplier.
Yeah, I've been looking around and I've kind of like run out of cool stickers to buy and put on water bottles and stuff.
Well, I mean, have you seen the stuff Josh has been coming out with lately?
No, I have not.
Well, he is doing some really cool stuff with the Shop LS 574. Yes, they're working with indigenous communities and making some really cool stickers. He has a really cool Buffalo Mountain sticker. There's even water bottles, hats, sweatshirts, the whole swag. And we even got a discount code for you guys. Yes, if you use Wandering Ways at Shop LS 574, you're going to be getting a discount on your next purchase. But not only that, you're going to be giving a percentage of that sale to the Little Shell Tribe, as well as they donate $1 of every sale to murdered and missing Indigenous women. So just such a cool thing going on there. You use the code Wandering Ways, WANDERING WAYS, and you put that in there, boom, you're getting a discount.
Well, and another thing to go with respect, Reverend, is to be open-minded. When we come into some of these places, a lot of people have closed minds, like I said it before, even here in the US, you have some more areas that are liberal and some areas that are very conservative. I know places in Portland, Oregon, I could smoke weed publicly and the cop would walk by me and not bat an eye. But if I were to smoke weed in even a state like Montana, where it is legal in a public place and a cop were to walk by me, that motherfucker would have me on the ground and in handcuffs in 2 seconds. You know what I mean? So even though it's legal in both places, the law and based on how those citizens and people act differently. I was just using marijuana use as an example there. You have I don't know, you go to other cultures. Which one was it that Nixon, he would always do the peace sign, and he visited a country and he accidentally did it wrong. He did it because that's just his thing. That was his habit. And he did it. And they took offense to that because it was the middle finger there. And you don't do that. So it's again, that goes with the research respect, but be that open mind that even though it's good for you, could be bad somewhere else, or that's how they view it. I was taking the Arab women and the way they cover up with the shawls, right? And for them, it's a very, ultra conservative way of their lifestyle, of how they like to live and view the world. But, I was listening to this guy talk about it, and he goes, our women are so sacred that, in a sense, that we need to keep them protected. They are that porcelain doll. They are, I'm not going to share my wife with another man, even the looks of my wife with another man, because she is that, that's how special to her she is to us. And just very interesting too, because there are other, societies where it's Middle Eastern societies even, that are yep, I'm going to marry her, come to me, or India, where there's the dowries and the family arranges everything. Just different cultures, different lifestyles, and it's cool. It's not cool. It's different. It's unique, but it makes us at the end of the day.
It totally does. Whether or not you necessarily agree, right, with it, you still be open-minded, understand maybe why they have these rules, don't just go into a place and be well, that's stupid. Why can't they do that here? Slow down, maybe ask someone, say hey, I'm not from here, I don't quite, can you explain it? You and then at the end just be like, oh, sweet, thanks. Now I at least know why, because a lot of times you just have to understand the why behind it. And again, you don't
Yeah.
have to agree with it, but
I,
understanding the why will you'll be more empathetic and you can stay open-minded when you understand the why behind it.
no, I had to laugh because I remember a story with Marco last year when he came to visit our friend from Italy, mine and Jared's friend from Italy, and he came by and we were driving in the car, and I was just like, "Yeah, man, I used to be like a hoe in college," and he just his in his Italian voice was like, "A hoe." Like what does that mean? I don't know. He doesn't know. And I was like, oh, like a whore. And he goes, oh, me too. Like, like it's like, yeah, fucking great, man. No, but it was just like, again, just a little language thing that he didn't know. Like, I could have been like, saying something personal, admitting it to him. He doesn't understand that, because he doesn't understand the word or the language. But I don't know. It's just funny. Like, keep that open mind too, and be respectful. Again, I can't say that enough today, but like that open mind, and another way to experience and have that open mind, I think, in a good way, is to look at the local events, look at the local public institutions, libraries, research centers, embassies, museums. That museum we went to in Hawaii, that was one of the best experiences when we were there, I think.
Yeah, it was a good time going to the museum there in Hilo. Um, no, I think it's important. Yeah, I don't know. For this is a thing for me when it comes to traveling. Um, I very much part of the reason I enjoy traveling is getting to know the people that of where I'm traveling, right? So I like finding that local event, whether it's the farmers market or whether it's happened to be there on some sort of weird festival weekend. Maybe there's a garlic festival in the town that I'm in, but like going out, checking those kind of events, you learn because there's a reason why they're having that festival there, or there's a reason why this is there. Because obviously that community takes a lot of pride in said thing. And so you learn what they take pride in, and then also you get to learn a little bit about the people, you get to meet the people, and oftentimes you find some of the best stuff. So it's like getting out, actually in understanding the locals and like kind of what they do. And if you do it in a respectful way, you'll probably find a real cool story and memory along the way.
And as you're saying that, I Googled it. I Googled Iceland, like events Iceland June 2023, because why not? Why not? If we have the time and there's something work like, well, there's a farmer's market going on in this little town in Iceland. Well, I got to do that one day in my life.
Yeah.
And then you see some places, it's funny, like you go to like different places, you see like the uniquenesses come out of those places, you know
100%. 100%. I remember when we were in Hilo, one of the one things I really wanted to do when we went to the Hilo market was buy some buttered mochi from someone. And goddamn, that was some of the best buttered mochi I've ever had.
right? No, exactly. That's what I mean. I'm looking to see there's a soccer game or something on the 18th of June. Now we fly out. We won't be there for that.
Oh yeah, there's a little like professional Iceland soccer because I had athlete, so a former athlete of mine, she played professionally in Iceland for a year. She now plays professionally in Portugal. But
Nope.
it's I know there's a lot in Iceland. Actually, so I had another athlete tell me they have a friend playing in Iceland. I said, "Oh, what's their name? I'm gonna look them up when I'm there."
There
So,
you go. There you
yeah.
go.
But we've mentioned some things that can be very that we think make you a good tourist or a good visitor to this place. And so in the spirit of fun, and we haven't done my favorite section or segment yet of cool shit in nature, so we're going to keep that going. We're going to do some cool shit in nature, and then we're going to pop into some other pictures and videos of people being, as the caption of these videos say, oftentimes a bunch of Tourons. But I'm going to start off with the cool shit in nature. And this first one's just a picture, but it shows the potential of what could happen if we took care of our environment overall. So for the people that are just listening, this is a photograph of Los Angeles, California, Los Angeles, California, during the pandemic, early stages of the pandemic when we were in hardcore lockdown. So emissions were way down. And this is what a smogless LA looks like. And I've got to say, LA looks pretty.
Yeah, it looks like a nice day in LA. I'd be, LA and all over LA.
For sure.
Well, if you guys want to see this picture, make sure you're on the Spotify. They have video podcasts now, and so does YouTube if you want to see our reactions on the YouTube. But this is a nice picture. I remember seeing those like of this different cities and people posting that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen in like during the pandemic when that first happened.
Yeah, there's like fish in Venice, smogless LA, like things that people are like, this hasn't happened in years type deal.
Wow.
And it just goes to show you what, if we cleaned up a little bit, how good we could be, really. Next one, moving on. Video. Right now it's towards the end of it, but what it is it is a mama moose chasing away a bear. So super cool. Also moose are scary. So
I love that. People, they look at deer and elk and moose as like, oh, these like weird animals, but a moose, I'm more afraid of a moose than a bear, to be honest with you.
me too. Me too.
They'll
You
kick you.
know, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've showed that video of that guy just getting absolutely obliterated by the moose. Which doesn't look fun. I'm gonna be honest.
Look
I
at
am
right
not
here.
putting it's not making my top 5 list of fun things.
Look at you, right? But look at the end of the video here where that moose, those back legs just thumps him to the ground, right? Wham!
Yeah.
Just, I'm gonna
There
mess that bear up. Don't and like other babies. Oh, mom.
yeah. There's a lot of power in that guy right there. Next one. This is more into the Tourons of like, don't be an idiot. Like, take care of some shit and don't pollute. Um, this is literally a bunch of garbage right next to a garbage or a place to recycle. So like you really didn't even have to go that much farther.
I get the glass, because there's no glass chute, but
Yeah, I do get that one, but
yeah,
the Starbucks cup, the Dasani bottle, there's a lot of it. It's just people just not taking pride in it.
low key though, I agree. Low key could be staged.
I do feel you there. But it's the more reason I picked it is because you do see a lot of this shit.
Every hike you do, every day you leave the house, pick up some trash that isn't yours. Just do it. Just do it. Don't question
100%.
yourself. Just fucking do it.
One thing, it really adds up in the long run.
That's why.
This next one, this is always a fun one. I always enjoy seeing people park like idiots. So
I love this because this picture captures. I don't know if it was you and I. It might have been you and I, or somebody and I were in Yellowstone, and it might have just been myself. This guy was parked on the road like that because the big ditch, right? and he's sitting there. That wheel on the right's not spinning, but the one up in the air is. So it's just going. And it's like, oh my God, you freaking guy. Like it was just like that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
The one thing I do want to point out while he is parked and he's got a wheel float, I do want to point out a good habit this person did is like that's an appropriate, well, it might not be appropriate, but that's an adequate amount of space to pull over for. Now, there's usually pullouts, so I'm not condoning this because it's not a
that.
true pullout, but they're not on the road.
Okay, fair. They're not on the road, which is good, but is that not a pullout though? A dirt pullout?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it just happens to be some sand type deal.
Or one of those where like it became a pullout over time, but they're trying to avoid them now.
Yeah, I think it's something along that line. But I appreciate them getting off the road. But understand where you're parking so you don't have a floating wheel.
They might have done that just to put it up on three wheels because that's like a car thing, like a Jeep thing. People always take pictures when they put their Jeep on three wheels.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. But next one. This one's in Joshua Tree. These trees are very old. They're kind of the point of the park. It's why it's named after it. Let's not graffiti the tree.
T is for Turon for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one for this. This is for the people that are just listening. Someone carved out in a tree a big old T. At least I hope it's just a T and not something else that could also look like a T, but is a lot more graphic.
I think it's a T. I think it's a T.
I do too, but you never know. Maybe they're just a bad artist. Um, but like, there's really no place for this anywhere in the parks. Whether you're writing your name on a rock, or you're doing it on a tree, or you're doing it, just anywhere. There's really no place for this kind of activity or behavior.
Working at Pompey's Pillar, man, that was a big discussion because that was part of the history. It's where they signed their names, but that was part of back then history. Now you're signing your name is taking a picture and posting on Instagram. That's how people know you were there. You don't need to sign your name.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you get caught, just so you know, you get caught, you're going to jail. And you're getting a big fine. Pompey's Pillar had people in 2010 do that, and they got you don't want to do that.
No, it can go turn into a bad day real quick. It can turn into a bad. Yeah, 100%. Next one. That's just a bunch of the Turons from Yellowstone, but this is actually a video of a lady getting impaled by an elk. So, we've shown tons of animals attacking people on this podcast. This is just another one. Like, be aware of where you're at.
The nice thing with I was watching elk and deer fight, right? When you watch elk and deer fight, right? It's not like a ram where the rams gear up and just boom, smash each other, right? They slowly, like this, right? They slowly engage with you because they lock antlers and fight, right? They lock them.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing here, right? Like he's trying to get her in between a point. Yes, you can still get poked. Yes, you can it still hurts, I bet. And yes, she deserves it because she's way too close to probably a bull in rut. If you look at her, he's out of velvet. There's a bunch of cow around him, and he's a good looking bull. And fall. There's leaves on the ground. So like,
yeah,
you're being dumb. You deserve to get hit being dumb. I would never want to get impaled by a antler of any sort.
Yeah. what's also wild is I think she's like on her phone or had her phone because her something goes flying in the video.
Well, she gets picked up. Like
Yeah,
she
but
get
you can see like something kind of flies
yeah.
across, and it looks like a phone of some sort.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I mean, she's obviously doing a bunch of no-nos here.
I like how he just tosses her too, and you can tell right here the elk just and I leave.
Oh, I know. Ah, I would love to hear her side of the story because I'm sure it's just absolutely dumb.
I was at Rocky Mountain National Park.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to the next one.
Oh, this
Oh,
one.
classic bear charge.
That's in Yellowstone.
Yeah, this is a Tourons of Yellowstone account.
Look at
So
her. I mean, she's smart in the sense that okay, got my picture, goodbye. But that's a classic bear. See how he's not charging her. He's doing a semicircle, kind of a swipe, which he's
yeah,
just he's just warning her, you keep getting closer to us, I will fuck with you. But what it looks like to me, see, because you get the two other bears, this bear in the one on the further back to the right, the more white bear, is is caught off by that bear running. So he runs off into the woods, right? But there's
yeah,
something
he's like,
bigger going on with those bears.
yeah. I mean, there's a reason why they tell you to stand so far away from the bears when you're in these. You know, she's got a couple things. I'm not condoning this, but she's got a couple things. Um, she's got a barrier, which is smart, and as soon as the bear was like, get the hell out, she was like, yo, I'm out skis. But she's way too close to begin with.
And this is why I'm not I'm a I'm yes, I'm afraid I could get attacked by a bear when I'm out in the woods. Yes. But I'm not as afraid of bears because they 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 do that where like a kitty cat would attack you right there.
Yeah.
Like a cougar would boom, she's dead on the ground. Where the bear is like, I really don't want to fight you today, but if you put me in that position, I will fight you.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the caption here, she ended up paying 200,000 or $2,000 in fines and served for 4 days in the detention center for this one.
And a 1 year ban from Yellowstone. I Yeah, because those three bears are there. You shouldn't be out of your car.
Yeah. I mean, it goes, that's real life consequences right
Because
there,
this
everybody.
whoever's filming this is in their car, like looking out a sunroof, or you can kind of see a car.
Yeah, you can. That's true.
Um, Classic.
But moving on. Oh, this one, it's not a real one, but it's an absolute fun one because I think they were making fun of people like there was a story of someone cooked a chicken in the hot pots. So this is just the Tourons of Yellowstone having fun with it and mimicking cooking a turkey with the hot pots.
It's funny. A little
It
leg
is. Don't
on it.
do it. Don't stick stuff into the hot pots, everybody. I'm hoping this next one is the one where it's like, what are you doing? Yeah, this is exactly the one. Um, so for the people that are just listening, this is a video of a woman who is at Grand Prismatic walking on the water amongst the algae barefoot, not
This,
on the boardwalk.
this just happened, yeah.
I don't know if this just happened. It says child actress with Instagram influencer and actress with a 500,000 followers. Oh damn. Um, I don't know if this just happened, but
Well, they posted it November. I wonder. I think this happened this summer, but I I want to say I saw like I heard something about this where it's like where she walked, like now there's like footprints there because that's how the algae works and bacteria works on like Grand Prismatic. Like that bitch fucking ruined it.
100%. You know, that's a delicate like ecosystem right there with that algae all right there. And she just full on walks across it like she thinks it's no big deal.
Well,
But
and what people don't get with like these springs, like you've seen them, right, with your eyes, they get thin above some of the water areas, like where the pools come up, right? So you could fall through right there potentially. There could be a
yeah.
cavern right below you that, like, I hate people.
Oh yeah, this one is just it kind of makes your skin sizzle a bit, but you know, did it for the gram. She got on the gram. Look, we're looking. What's for this picture's taken from Instagram. So she got on the gram.
It bugs me because
Don't
you
don't do it though.
you know her page is there with like, I respect nature and I do this. I'm a van lifer. And it's like that's the fucking goddamn like opposite of what you're trying to promote and do. You should be banned off Instagram for doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Um Next one, you know, no tour on getting hurt here, but you know, yet it's flirting with disaster here.
I beg to differ.
It really.
He's in velvet.
It only takes one, but somebody getting pissed off, and it doesn't. It
How,
turns into. It doesn't have to be antlers. It could
how
be feet.
close how close have you been to deer in your life?
I've been to the deer here in Ashland. I've been pretty dang close, but that's different. That's an animal that isn't really used to people.
What about Turons of Glacier, bro? Glacier Park. Those fucking deer walk in those paths, see people daily.
I don't know. It's condoning bad behavior
No,
right
you don't
here.
get close to animals. It looks like they're on the hiking path. They get off the hiking path because the deer's coming down at them.
Yeah.
Could be worse in Glacier because I've seen this same scenario with the grizzly bear and people walking.
100%.
But
I mean, you know, I'm not really calling these people out because,
yeah,
you know, it does kind of appear like they've done a best effort, but it's still, I mean, there's definitely a lot more room they could go.
yeah, to get behind that tree to give yourself some sort of barrier from the animal, like that dead tree
Yeah.
laying behind them. But it to me, it's a deer. They're right there. They are showing respect for the animal if they were on that hiking path, walking towards
Yeah.
it to get off and say, "Go ahead." That to me, that's what you do in a situation like that.
That deer will fuck you up.
If you piss it off. Oh, okay. This one's interesting.
Yeah, this one is my thing with this one is this is one where you wish you could see the picture being taken,
Yes.
right? So for the people that are just listening, this is someone who they're on the Going to Sun road. They're by the Weeping Wall, and she's right in the middle of the road, posing, getting that picture for either the gram or something. I don't know. Who knows what the picture is for? Um, and the reason why I say it depends on if you wish you could see the picture being taken, right? If they're not holding up traffic or anything, I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, right. She's sitting right in the middle of the road, taking her picture. You know, looking at the shot, it looks afternoon because that is a long, long shadow. And based on the area, yeah, based on where she's at, yeah, because that's east, there or west. That's where the sun would set. So it's a
Mhm.
possibility it is in the afternoon on some days. So if there is no cars and you have, if there's a pullout behind them right there, and she just ran out into the road and took a quick picture and ran back, I don't see anything wrong with it. If she's sitting there holding up traffic, yes, you do not.
Yeah.
You are no better than anyone else in the park. I don't care if it's your first time. You're no better than anyone else there. Respect it. But if you're not if you're not bugging anybody, any animals, any rangers, I'm fine with it. We stood in the middle of like that. The road was closed and we were standing in the middle of it and took a picture.
Yeah. Again, though, we weren't holding anything up. We weren't endangering people. So this is one where it's like you wish you could see the picture being taken to really understand if it deserves to be a tour on instance. Next one, it's just more people close to bears. This isn't a video. This is just people, it's going down. Make sure you're respecting the animals and the wildlife.
Well, be
This is
careful.
tough. It is a picture. You don't know the like true perspective. Like they could be a good distance away. So this is probably just something where people are putting in their PSA, don't be close to animals kind of picture.
Oh, and it's a mama and cubs. So always is mama and cubs.
Yep. Last one here. This one, you know, part of me when you watch it, you're so that for people just listening, it's someone crossing a log next to the St. Mary's Falls in Glacier. And part of me watching this, it's gonna sound fucked up. I kind of hope she falls.
Right. Well, and you be smarter because like that log could just be there and your weight could trip it, especially because there's a bridge that you can go across to get right to the same spot you're going to.
Yeah.
That's just, yeah, it's just
Well,
that is a tour
I'm
on.
willing to bet she went out there for a picture. She's like, go stand on the bridge, take my picture while I go out on the log.
Right there. Look, she's posing. And
Yeah. So,
I'm done.
yeah. So this is a classic just tour on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like right there, you hope she just kind of slips and hits her
Yep.
head.
Darwinism, everybody. Big fan of it. But no, this is that was our last kind of like video picture, whatever it is you want to call it. We are at the end of the episode today, so it's time to finish up with our final words. So, starting it off, final words, my guy.
Guys, we taught you today how to be a good tourist and not a tour on. Don't do like the videos. Don't be idiots. Because you'll be made fun of, and I will publicly make fun of you if you're an idiot in a park because you deserve it. There's two types of tourists you don't want to be: a slum tourist or a volunteer tourist sometimes, because people sometimes volunteer and they care more about themselves than actually doing good for the community they're volunteering in. They're just doing it for the trip. And well as the slum trips where like you're not giving back to those communities. So again, please contribute to those local areas. If you're in Glacier Park, drive over to Browning, go support a local business, help out the Blackfeet tribe. If you're in Crater Lake, go check out the Klamath tribes, go help them out. Just do the little things in the local areas. Don't necessarily have to help out the native peoples. You can go help out just the local economies. A lot of small towns in America hurt because the big cities are where it's at. So be there. Again, like Mark said, go visit your public institutions and local events when you're at these places. Go be respectful. Don't be a dumbass. Be a good tourist. And until then, just keep wandering on.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Reverend's final words of wisdom. Stay beautiful, everybody. I can't tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you for sticking it out, listening to the episode, doing all those wonderful things, the liking, the subscribing, the sharing with your friends. All of those are wonderful, and I love it, and I'm so appreciative of it. At the end of the day, just ELE. Everybody love everybody. We're all people. We're all living through this thing. We're all on the same planet here. We all have the same issues. We all have the same. We just want to be happy. So let's treat people with respect. Let's treat people with love. Let's do all of those wonderful things because you are wonderful people. And with that being said, peace out, everybody.
Bye.